By this video, you should have placed your order for your new food and received it as well. Either that or you purchased a custom raw recipe from our Wild Biome nutritionist and you've already prepared it. If you don't have your new food yet, you get the day off and you can close this video down. Come back when you do have the new food. If you're ready to roll right now, let's talk all about it. I'll get to how to begin transitioning in a moment, but let's just talk about why we're doing this. And I promise, even if you don't care all that much, knowing the why behind all of this will help you get better results with your dog. The digestive tract inside your dog from mouth to exit is basically one long continuous tube with a bunch of sphincters along the way. In the simplest sense, you and your dog are both just a bunch of organs built around a food tunnel. Midway down this tunnel, mostly in the small and large intestine, is the gut microbiome. Trillions of bacteria live in there. Now, every gut biome is a battlefield. There is a constant war going on between good bacteria and bad bacteria and fungus. In this case, the enemy is a fungus called Candida albicans, better known as yeast. If you haven't heard this from me already, yeast cells are little monsters. They start out as single-celled organisms that are rather innocuous, but over time, if they're able to eat starches, grains, and sugars, or as I like to categorize this group of things, kibble, then the yeast cells grow, evolve, and interconnect. They develop into a clumpy mass of cells connected by hairy root-like projections called rhizomes. And the outside of each individual cell is made of chitin, which is the same stuff a cockroach is made of, meaning these things are very resilient. They can last years on the skimpiest of resources. So if your dog has eaten starches, grains, or sugars ever, even if they've been on raw for years on end, all these yeast cells need is a little bit of starch here, a dusting of grain there, and they can continue wreaking havoc for years. What havoc do they wreak? This yeast cell mass causes inflammation inside the gut lining, the tube. When the tube gets inflamed, holes form in the sides of it. Another fun fact is that this tube is 1 cell thick, which is smaller than the diameter of your hair, plus a little mucus. So when inflammation is present, the tight junctions that hold this single line of cells together loosen up. And then so do the cells, and that's where those holes start forming. It's called leaky gut syndrome because things that should never be allowed outside of this tube, things like toxins, undigested food, literal poop, leak out through this gut lining and into your dog's bloodstream. This can cause allergies to that undigested food because the immune system knows that any food floating around without a hall pass should not be there. But yeast also slip through. In fact, yeast cells even use those rhizomes to burrow their way through the gut lining and into the bloodstream. Once there, they get to explore other parts of your dog's body, and that affects the body's ability to absorb vitamins, minerals, amino and fatty acids, and then the yeast cells eventually wind up on the surface of your dog where they die. Back to the main point. Your job in this gut war between good and bad bacteria is to stop feeding yeast. Starve them. Don't give them any more resources with which to repopulate. That's where your new food comes in. The starches, grains, and sugars in there are very minimal, so you're not going to continue feeding yeast. You can find the full transition guide to getting onto this new food below, which is very simple and easy to follow. If your dog doesn't like his food, email us and we'll find you a new one. Over the next 10 days, just move slowly and gradually to this new food source, and you'll already have started the process of starving yeast cells in the gut microbiome. When you replace yeast's food with proper nutrition, you build a foundation for ongoing gut health. An important note, your dog has to be fully transitioned to this new food before even touching the MCT3 oil, or you risk some very uncomfortable digestion issues. When you are 100% fully transitioned to the new food, you can move on to module 3, yeast detox. But first, you'll want to check out the next and final lesson in this module, which talks about what's normal and what's not normal during food transition. We'll see you there.